Well, welcome to this before the last session. So today I'm going to make an introduction to REST API. We are going to create an application, and today we dedicate all of this to we're going to dedicate all of this to three of these fundamental ideas for the construction of our application. Okay, so just that it's today's session is going to be about that. So let's begin. Well, the idea is to create an application. The idea is to construct this application. So I'm going to move here. Okay, and well, let's begin with that. The application that I'm going to create is going to have its roots, file roots, are going to be found here in okay, it's going to be found in var and ww, and then this one, the html. Actually, this is the file and other files that I need to modify. So first I'm going to create this file, header.html, and then another file called footer.html. Okay, then well, then we need to copy some code. So I'm going to copy some code here. I'm going to copy this. Okay, let's make it so the header is going to be this one. I'm going to open it with gedit, and I'm going to copy this code. What does it mean, this code? You have here a tag doc.type html, then the html actually this tag, then the head, and then you're going to find two tags of links with this h reference and the other one with a bootstrap. Okay, but this is just for design purposes. I'm using this type of content for design purposes. I close it the head. I'm going to open the body, then the division, then the a. Okay, and finally some titles. Just that. We use it in that sense. We're going to get this and then copy for the footer. The point of doing this, the header and the footer, is because I'm going to use all of this stuff that you see, the header, the footer, HTML, and so on. Okay, this is just for design purposes. Everything that we do here is for design purposes. Now, I'm going to construct all the files that involve the application in the current, and you can see there, in the current path, in that directory, var 3w and then html. In that folder, I'm going to use all these files. Now I have here the header, then the footer. It's not something magical because it's the same thing that we use here. That's the header and the footer. I'm going to erase this and use this code. I'm going to make the copy, this one, and there you have. Here you have the PHP open tag, and then I say include once, and then you have the header HTML, this one. Then I'm going to use this tag of form, the action, then the login is going to be this one, login.php. It means that if I enter some values to this, well, this code that you see here represents a form. Okay, let me show you what type of form it represents. It is this one. Okay, the index.php that you have seen there, it represents all this entire construction. It is an HTML code, and this is the form that I use. Now you can see that this implicitly suggests that I have to use some tags for construction, a table, an image, and so on. So it's a diversity of elements that combined are going to converge in the construction of such file. So what does it mean that? Let's go back to the get it here. There you have. The form is going to be this one. The action is going to be this one, login.php. That means that the things that I'm going to post there, all the values that I'm going to enter there, are going to send me to a file called login.php. Then you have the method is post, because we are going to enter information. We're going to enter the workspace and so on. Many things that we enter here. Then you have the division, and it has the call, the seeks on some of the attributes that we need for the construction. We just use some HTML. Then there's division tag here, and it says that the title says server URL, and that's actually what we do here, server URL. So I move it here again. It says server URL, and then the tag of input, because I'm going to enter the server here. Then you have another division. In such division, now we ask people to provide the workspace name and the input. What does this mean in the file? The tag that says workspace name is found here. This is obvious. And the tag of input represents this field that you can find here. Okay? The condition is clear. We are constructing a set of fields where we need to input information. Client ID, client secrets, many things that you can find here. Client ID, client secret, username, password, all of these combined are going to create our file. So you can see here the client ID is going to follow the same logic. Client secret is going to follow the same logic. Then you have username, then you have password. So all of them combined are going to have their respective fields on the other side, and well, just that. This is the way that it works. But let me notice that here, if you remember, we talked about the header HTML, this one, and the header for the footer HTML. Well, the point is correct. When I think about this and I start to construct my everything that I'm going to do, because we're going to create an application, but we are going also to create some HTML. It's necessary. It is front end in some sense. It is the construction. It's the visual contribution for this application. And you have you have seen that the opening tag for PHP, I include the header, the closing tag is for the footer. Both are going to be combined, both are going to have their respective influence in everything. So just that, it is the way that it works. It works as this. It follows this path, this solution. By now, I think that we have completed this part. I want to know if you have any question. Do you have any question? Okay. By now, I'm just preparing this. Let me remind you that if I go here to the files itself, I'm going to show you the files in computer. Then I'm going to move to etc. Then I'm going to move. Let me show you something. Uh, you know, I'm going to show you something. Just a moment, okay? It's well, I don't clearly remember where it was. I believe that this was in. Okay, let me think for a while. What is it? I think that it's this one. Let me search it. No. Well, I was trying to find. I didn't remember where was the file where we obtain all this configuration. But let me show you for a while. I think that it's from here. Okay. Let me show you. Maybe it's this Apache 2. Okay, then the sites available. Yeah, it's this one, the PMOS. In the PMOS, for our current application of Process Maker, our Process Maker instance, we use listen 80 and then the configuration of a virtual host. But now I have an extra configuration where I'm going to use this server name localhost and then provide this document root. Actually, I use this configuration for my application in Process Maker. Okay, I use this construction. Okay, so I think that with that we are clear. Any question you have right now? Is that clear enough? Okay, let's do this lab, please. Let's do the preliminary arrangements. You're going to have 50 minutes for this lab. 50 minutes for preliminary arrangements. Hello, how are you? Daham, hi. Well, we were doing the first lab of this section of REST API application. So we construct the application and then we start to give all this information, okay? So just that. Do you have any question for this? Okay, well, uh, I'm going to continue. I need to explore something more. Okay, so until now, the page that you can see, this one is going to help us. I mean, this was constructed on three files that we constructed on the preliminary arrangements of the data lab. Okay, so we constructed the server URL, the workspace name, the client ID, the client secret, all of these fields, all of these pages we constructed by using um, the first lab. We played with three of these files, add some code, and this is the result. Now I'm going to populate, I'm going to introduce here some characteristics to bring the list of cases. But focus on this one. I'm going to bring all this, I'm going to bring here, okay, a file. And this file is going to be the core of all my application. Because of course we use this kind of architecture REST API. By using that, I need to introduce some code here, and then you're going to see that everything is going to be the same concept, an endpoint, a method, and so on. So let's begin with that. No difference in the same idea, the same basic idea of yesterday's session, connectors. So let's create this file. I'm going to move here again to my uh, to this part. No, not to this part. My excuses. I need to go to var. Well, of course you're going to see in the video because this is film. I need to create another file here. So let's make it. I'm going to introduce another file. This one. This one I'm going to introduce. And I'm going to make it get it here. That's the point. Execute rest.php. Now, how it works, I'm going to copy now the code and bring it on table. I'm going to bring on table and discuss about it. This is the core, okay? It's the magic starts here. The rest you are going to see that is the same concept and the same concept. Nothing is going to change, but this is a special file. Is the execute rest.php file, and this one is going to help me to bring the client URL library for PHP. Let me remind you that the REST architecture allows you to construct an application with different languages such as Python, but in this case I have decided to use PHP. And the library associated to interact with a process with the endpoints of process maker is CUR, client URL. So you have the function here. The function is this one. Then you have the execute rest. I'm going to bring this function, execute rest, and provide these arguments, all of them. URL, method, data, array, access token. The URL is the endpoint. It's the URL where I'm going to extract the information. The method is an HTTP method, get, post, put, delete, an empty array because I'm not going to post anything at all, and then you have the access token. Then in here, since I mentioned the curl library, I'm going to start the session with curl here, and the argument is going to be the URL. It means the endpoint. I'm going to set an option, use the curl session, and this is going to help me to transfer some information. So this is an option, one of the options, okay? And I say true. Then I say access token, okay? If it's different from empty, so I'm going to set this option. It says here, it says curl, set an option, then you have curl here, then you have curl HTTP header. I'm going to post something here, and this is the value that I'm going to post. Authorization bearer access token. I use the bearer schema to bring on table the access token and send a request. Then I'm going to make the methods. If the method is post, I'm going to set this option post and confirm that it's going to be, we are going to post something with true. Then I'm going to set this other option, post opt post fields, and for instance it can be the introduction of some data in a form. In this case I'm going to use the method post, and there you have data. If the method is put update, I'm going to make this request to make the update, and then apply the modifications with this option, post fields, and the data that I need to modify. Okay? Then I say the method is delete. If the method is delete, first of all, I'm going to read this information in post fields, and then I'm going to make this. Well, first of all, I'm going to identify the data that I need to delete. Then I'm going to make this request and delete it. Okay? And then the corresponse is going to be the execution of the session. Now, in any case, if you remember, that happened also with the connectors, I'm going to receive an object. It's a request. I'm going to receive a JSON format response. Based on this JSON format response, I'm going to make the decoding of that. JSON decode. Then you have curl response true. I'm going to confirm to convert this into an array because it's easier to manage. Then I'm going to close the session of curl. But you know, the session of curl is very important because it allows me to interact, treat the information, and get the information that I need to get the information. So that's why this is the core. We set options depending on the methods. I'm going to verify the reading of something. I'm going to delete, put, whatever. So you use that. If, okay, I'm going to make this ESET decoded error. I'm going to ask if the error is empty. Nothing happens. If that happens, it means that if there is no value here, okay, if there is some value of error, I'm going to echo this mistake. If not, I make a die and that's all. Else, return the code. The decoded means the conversion into array of our request. In Previously, it is previously defined as a JSON, and then we need to make it an array because it's easy to treat something that it is an array. Well, at least in my application. Now I need to create another file. I think that this one is understood. Is it clear? I'm going to create another file. This one is login.php. Now you are going to see right now in action what is happening. I'm going to open it and use the login PHP. So let's see. Okay. I don't know by heart the code. Nobody knows 38 lines of code. Nobody knows 10 lines of code by heart. So, excuse me if I'm going to copy from the lab some of this code. So I'm going to paste it this, and there you have. I'm going to ask this empty post. Okay, this is a global variable PHP. You know that I have sent some information. I have posted some values here, and I have to ask empty post because all the values that I'm entering through the interactions with our websites are going to be saved in this variable. This global variable is $_post, and I ask if this is empty, go back to the index. But this index PHP is this lab. Excuse me, is this part. If I don't find all of this and it is empty, we move back to the index PHP, which is this form. Then I say require once execute rest PHP. This file that I explained, you are going to have a lot of interactions receiving using the HTTP methods and so on. So you are going to have a variety of elements here to interact, use set options, recover information, treat it, decode it, and so on. But after that, you are going to have a pristine way, an array to work with your information. But I need to call it. So it's require once execute rest.php, the name of the file. Actually, implicitly, I'm asking my function to come. Function, get access token. This one is going to be all of this. And since it is a function, we're going to find here the parameters. Runtime, scope, client ID, client secret, username, password. All of these associative indexes that allow me to obtain a token are going to be represented by this password. This scope means that I can access to whatever service. This comes from the posting. It means the client ID that I have posted here. You know that everything that I put here is going to be saved in $_post in PHP. So those values I'm going to place it in here. Client ID, the same as here, client secret, username, and the password. So when that happens, I'm going to construct the endpoint. Notice first, I'm not going to enter to the endpoint yet. But look at this. These are the parameters that I am recovering from where? From here. Just from here. I recover from here and also from other sites. I am constructing my array of parameters. Once I have cleared that, I'm going to use this URL. and construct an endpoint because I need an endpoint for the token. So I'm going to enter with post URL, post workspace, and so on. With all of these, I construct the endpoint. Then I say here data, and then I'm going to execute REST here. URL is going to be the endpoint. The post is going to be the method, and then the parameters. So this one is going to be the endpoint here for the token. This one. Then that token I'm going to post it associated, but I'm going to post here because in token in this endpoint I need to post these parameters. So I'm going to include this method, HTTP method, and then the parameters associated with this URL. But let's look at this. If the method is post, so if the method is post, I need to see this part, and I need the data. You know, so when I have the data, it means that I need to introduce that information, parameters. Then I'm going to recover this data and access token. I start a session. It means I run process maker. And from here, I'm going to save this information. The session URL is going to be the post URL. The session WS is going to be the post workspace. The session access token is going to be all the result from this function. And then the header is going to derive me to list PHP. When this goes successfully, this action, I go to list PHP. So I'm going to add one more. You know that I go to list PHP. List PHP. Now I'm going to open the Get here. That's the list PHP. Let's enter this. Okay, let me copy this. I'm going to save it. Okay, so you have the REST connection start. This. Then I'm going to make the PHP here and the session start. I'm going to ask if this session is empty. I'm going to ask if the session is empty, and if it is empty, I move back to the index PHP. You know the form that I initially showed you for the application. If that doesn't happen and everything is fine and no problem, I go here, require once, execute REST PHP. I'm going to execute the REST PHP and use this URL, session, URL, API. I'm constructing here. Okay, the point is this. I need to bring back the execute REST PHP because with this file and its function, I'm going to be able to process the data that I need to obtain. Now, I'm going to bring here the URL, this one, and I need this endpoint to see the cases of my current workspace instance. Because we need to bring information from process maker. Then the case list is going to say the execution of all of this. The URL, this one for cases, I'm going to read cases. The get is read HTTP method. the array. I'm not going to post anything at all. And then the session is the access token. Okay, I need to provide this access token to make the request. I'll launch the request, and since I launch it, notice that this is the case list. This one I'm going to use it in here. Division. I'm going to use some makeup of HTML, and here I say echo count case list because I'm going to provide an information with an amount of elements, and then I'm going to construct this table with these titles: case number, process, task, sent by, due date, priority, and then you have DH, DH, DR, head, all the type tags, just HTML, and then we organize the information here by using this element. I say I equals 0, that's okay, for each case list as case. I am making here, I know that case list is an array because of the execute rest, but I need to treat in a different way. I know that case list, at least because of the experience, is going to bring me an array, a multi-dimensional array. And each one of the elements is an array and is a case. So that's why that I use this iteration. I'm going to make it this treatment one by one. And then I'm going to apply this I++ and make the echo. DR, the D, and DPI. Then I'm going to copy another data on the table, the APP number of the case, the APP pro title, and so on. So I'm going to copy all of this, and automatically I'm going to be filling in this file. All the information is going to be filling. Now, if that happens, I'm going to move it here. It's going to be university here. Just a moment, okay? Now let's see what is happening, actually. I'm going to see what is happening. And, well, by that, I need to enter here to applications. You know that the authentication that we use in Process Maker, this type of authentication, okay, it's very useful because I obtain in here the client ID and the client SIG, okay? That's why I use it. So I'm going to use these details and start making all the construction, okay? I'm going to test my application, just a moment. Okay, I'm going to use it here. It's going to be HTTP here, works, workflow, okay. Oh, process maker, the host process maker. Then the workspace is going to be workflow. Then the client ID, I'm going to take it from here, and it's part of our authentication. Copy here. Then I'm going to use the client secret here. Then I'm going to use this as admin and admin. And there you have it. Okay, it's magnificent. The inbox has been populated. There you have the cases. I know that here are just 3 things, but okay, this is the way. Now I can make a case here and make the refresh if you want it. Make the home here. For instance, it's going to be Xerox. This is going to be Xerox at processmaker.com. Xerox, just that. It's going to be a retailer. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to submit the details and continue. Since you have here, I'm going to make the refresh, and there you have something ready to be used. Okay, let's make the other lab. You have to do in developer this lab. You need to get the user list, get in a user inbox case list. Let's do this lab. Okay, let's do this lab. You are going to have 15 minutes for this lab. See you. Hello, Jaham, are you still there? Hi, Jaham. I'm going to. Did you finish the lab or not? Did you finish? Okay, so I'm going to explain the last thing of today's session. We didn't take any break, so we are going to take the break at the final part of this session. But I need to explain the last one. The last one is going to be Dynaform that I'm going to create. So let's begin with that. It's just one code, so no problem about that. First of all, I need to create a file. And the file is actually that one, dynaform.php. It is this one, and it's going to be dynaform.php. In such file, I'm going to enter some code here. It's plain. It's fun. So I'm going to get here. Okay, I'm going to make the play here and paste it. And there you have REST connection. It says here in the comment, I'm constructing with this file a Dynaform. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to emphasize on that using this type of REST connection start. I'm going to make this PHP session start. And then in here, I'm going to ask if there is some access token. If it doesn't happen that, if there is no existence of an access token, what I need to do is to go back to the index. If not, I'm going to continue bringing back the execute rest PHP. Such file helps you to treat the information as we saw before. Then I'm going to use this endpoint. And again, it's the same. In execute rest, I'm going to construct my endpoint. Then I'm going to use these steps, okay? And I'm going to save the recovery of the data based on the endpoint that I have exposed here. So, since I obtain from steps, this element is going to gather that information, it's going to capture it, and then you have the file, the steps is going to receive an array with the steps. It's just data, nothing more at all. Another URL is going to identify the step UID, and this is the Dynaform, is going to save the execution of rest of this URL. This is the Dynaform itself, okay? The Dynaform is that one. I need the steps because I need to put it here, obtain the first element, and then the step UID object, okay? And then you have the Dynaform here. It is this one, execute rest. Then I'm going to use all these tags, the division, the H3, some, the typical arrangement of HTML that helps you to construct your application. So in this case, since I obtained the Dynaform, I'm going to copy the Dynaform title. Then I'm going to open this form. And then I'm going to open this tag of table. When that happens, I'm going to introduce this, and it's the JSON decoding of the Dynaform content. I have rows here, then it's equal JSON decode, then you have Dynaform content, comma, true. So you've got there, you have the JSON decode, you have the Dynaform content, and I'm bringing it and making it an array. Now, in for each, I'm going to use this part. This is an iteration. So I'm going to make here the rows, the items, 0 items, just, making the nest of the nest of the nest, the array of the array of the array. And then I'm going to find this iteration, field. The field iteration makes me easier to process each one of the details. So I'm going to move all of it as field, all of it, okay? And then I'm going to make the copy of this tag as tr and use this property. I equals 0, I minus equal count the field. This is going to be the lower and upper limit of this for loop, and the counter is going to increase it one by one. Then I'm going to ask this iset field I mode. So you have iset here, field I mode. Then you have, I'm going to ask if there is a mode here. If there is a mode, I'm going to ask if it is view. If it is in view mode, I'm going to disable. If nothing happens, I'm going to leave with no action at all, because it's editable. And then the switch cases. You know that there are many types. So I'm going to make, for the case title, you need to copy all this code and break. Then search for the subtitles, and then you have to copy all this code and then break. The text is going to happen the same. I'm going to make the echo here, copy all of these, and then break. Text area is going to happen the same, and then break. Now, in here, you're going to bring a big difference between both things, because you are going to be exposed to the drop down, then you are going to be exposed to the ring. But both of them are going to be multi-optional. You're going to find a lot of options there. The case is drop down, and here I'm going to echo all of these. Okay, but for the options, when I make echo, I also copy some attributes like full span, like the label, and so on. Okay, then in here, the for each is going to use the options and process the options through an iteration. That's clear. This is the iteration, and then I'm going to copy each one of the options. Radio is going to work the same. It is the radio button. We are going to get it, and the options I'm going to process is I'm going to process through an iteration. Break. Break, case submit, an echo, then break. There you have all of this. The footer is going to be HTML. It's a way to close things. There you have your entire Dynaform PHP is going to be this one. Sublime experience. You can use it on your own. Okay, time to work. I'm going to move here and please do this lab dynamic form rendering. You're going to have 15 minutes. It's not complex to explain, it's just arrangements, iterations, and so on. The most important thing, notice the rest, the structure. I receive an endpoint. Okay, I receive the endpoint. Then I execute the rest. It's important to construct the endpoint. It's important to say what is the action, the HTTP method that I'm going to use. In this case, I use get because I'm going to read information. Let's see what happens in action with this. I'm going to move here, then I'm going to move here, and then here. Let's see what happens. I'm going to open it. Okay, this is our beautiful Dynaform exposed here, displayed. It's time to work on the lab. So I'm going to move here outside my virtual machine, and here I'm going to use this one, dynamic form rendering. Okay, so you are going to have 15 minutes for this. The lab, dynamic form rendering. Well, um, since nobody's here in the session, and to this hour, I'm going to start it. Okay. Well, um, let me remind you something. On Friday, we talked about how to make an application through REST. So we expose the first three parts of this application and to the design of the dynamo. And if you remember this, go to the local host. If you remember this, for instance, I'm going to make you remember that. we constructed our own our own just let me remember. Okay, my idea is to show you the dynaform that we constructed. So I go here, make copy, move here. Okay, so I'm going to use some information here that I need. This one the same. Okay, so let's explore it. I'm going to use these credentials. And then the username is admin, the password is admin also. And when I log in, okay, you will find something like this. Okay, so I open it and it says that it does not exist. Let me make something here. So I should go back again. I'm going to use, well, I'm doing just for one of these processes. Okay, so if you remember, it was the pen registration. So if I open it, okay, you're going to find this. Yes, because the previous one was not open because the dynaform that I have has a grid, so we didn't operate with grids for the construction of the dynaform. We operated with different web controls, and that's why we have this type of dynaform displayed. Okay. Well, what should I do? I need to use some values, add values here to our dynaform. So we are going to make that, and then we are going to set the routing conditions for our dynaform. Okay. And with that, we close this chapter of REST, and that's all. It's the only thing that we have to do in this session. Oh, yeah, I'm going to explain something about Chrome, and with that, we close all the entire session. Okay. Since that happens, I'm going to come back here. Okay. Well, I'm going to copy directly what I have in this labs. Okay, because the next one is going to be about my activity is to add the values. Okay, because it's an empty dynaform. So I need to load the data and start working with it. So I know that it's not mystery that I was copying the code. So and you also copied the code in previous lab. So no restriction, all that. So I'm going to move here to OPT. then okay, no, it's not OPT. My excuses. I'm going to move to var here. Then I'm going to move to W, HTML, and then I'm going to move to Dynamo. Everything is going to be modified now in this folder, okay, in this file. So I need to introduce some values. And I'm going to add this one. I'm going to copy this. Okay. Okay. I'm going to copy what I have here. Loading data. And the first thing is going to be this one in line 14. I am creating a new type of endpoint where I'm going to obtain the variables. Okay. Okay, I'm going to continue. I think that it seems obvious that I am making the copy inside of all of this. Okay. I'm making the copy just from our Dynamo here. Let me go here to activities and go back. Okay. Then you have this if set that I'm going to copy in line 30. Line 30, I go here, then I move it here to the file. I'm going to search the line 30. It is this one. Now I'm going to enter this. Okay, so I need to enter the value. Okay, first in text, I need to enter this thing. So I'm going to open this one and reduce the size. Then I'm going to search for text. And this one is going to be point mode. Then you have the value here. There you have. Then you have the text area here. And in the text area, this one. Okay, point value. Then I'm going to turn this as selected. Then you have value, and here option value. Here, same. Then the radio button, the last one, I'm going to take it in fridge here, take it here. Then this value, I'm going to explain all of this. Okay, so first of all, let me introduce the values here. Value, let's check this one. And there you have, let's save it and see what happens. I'm going back here to the local host, make the refresh. No, I think that we can make this. And there you have, the values have been exported. Let's explain what happens in the code. I'm going to explain that. Well, let's increase the size of the screen. What I have done is to go back here to the to this part. I introduce a new endpoint, and this new endpoint is for variables. Then I executed the REST request with the method of get. With that taken into account, I decided to use this type of construction. Okay, so I apply an if set here, where I'm going to obtain the values of the variables. Once that I obtain those values, I'm going to place in each one of the web controls, except for title and subtitle for obvious reasons. But in text you are going to find this. Okay, in text you find it here, the value. In text area you're going to find the value here. In the drop down you're going to find here, and so on. The same as in radio. So in different possibilities I am using all of this. Well, with that taken into account, I'm going to move to developer here. You know, We always have a lab. So well, here you have seen that it works, and this is the way that it shows. Okay, so I'm going to move back. The reason why in the first case it didn't appear the Dynaform is because the Dynaform of the process that I have selected has a grid, but we didn't create a HTML code for the grid. That's why that it's not necessary to do that. No, it's not going to respond to that. Okay, let's move back here. And in developer, I'm going to move. Let's take this one. Loading data from process maker. We are going to take this loading data. We are going to use this one. Loading data from process maker. Let's make this lab. It's going to take around 15 minutes. 15 minutes for this lab. Okay? Bye. Hello? Okay. I'm going to continue with the last of these things. Okay? I'm going to continue with some part of this final exercise. Okay? Because we are going to contribute to the closing of this application that we have started this time. And in this case, well, I'm going to use some code here. We want to make it routing, you know. We want to make it routing all these kind of all these applications that we have constructed with REST. So let's make it that. I'm going to take this one and copy this method here, this part. I'm going to copy in the form and save it. I'm going to tell you what it means. So basically, I'm not interested in explaining right now what is happening. I'm going just to copy everything, okay? And based on that, then I'm going to explain you what is happening. So I'm going to copy this other code, okay? And it's going to be text. Text area, the same thing. Then drop down. Okay. Okay. In the drop down, we're going to find this label. Okay, and select here. Going to enter. Then here the reach the name in red. Okay, with that we have completed the addition of important code here. What it means, let's go here. In the first part, in form, I added some action, and it is this one. It means that once that this is, when I post all the information and everything, I'm going to use this file routecase.php, a file that I'm going to create in a moment. Okay, so it allows me to continue with the application. It allows me to go further with the application. Okay, then I have added this name field I or name. Okay, so I'm adding now in the input the variable name, and this is going to be helpful because it allows me to transfer the values to the next time. Okay, so just like that. Then I'm going to take this one, just a moment. I want to emphasize on something. Okay, now I'm going to create a new file here. Okay, so I'm going to add some code. Just a moment, please. It's taking a lot of time, this one. I'm going to see this, okay? It's a little slow. So I'm going to move this, take this one. Okay. I'm going to take this one, the route case, then I go here. Okay, let me copy this code. Okay, now that it's a little slow right now. I need to re-enter it again first, please. But at least this is our final experience with this. So I'm going to take this as a developer, this one, I click it. I'm going to take this one, copy this code, and copy in our new file, this router case. Okay, okay, so okay, now let's see how it works this. I'm going to move to my application here, go to localhost and start making the interaction. So I'm going to move here, make the submit details. Okay, it says something. UID, the current and everything. Let me see if this is saved. Okay. Now we're going to re-enter to the game with the local host. I'm going to click here on the local host, like this. Okay. And then remind you that you have this client ID and this client secret. We have admin here, and admin, then I log in. And now you can see the routing in action. I'm going to open this and submit the details. And there you have it. All the procedure has gone. Let me emphasize on something. Let's review the code, okay? Because nothing happens by magic. I start with the session. I'm going to ask if the token is empty. If it's empty, you have to go to the index PHP. I mean, you remember index PHP is that form, HTML form, with all the settings of client ID, client secret, workspace, and so on. Then I'm going to re-enter this file that says require once, execute rest.php, and I'm going to enter this endpoint variable. Then I'm going to use this execute rest and its URL, put post this because I am posting some variables and it's going to be saved in the global variable post. And then you have here the session for the access token. Then I'm going to call another endpoint. It's the same classic. The endpoint, the method, and then I execute rest. This is for put, updating things. Okay. And then the header is going to send me to the location of PHP. Okay, so the point is that I am trying to be immersed in this idea of trying to be immersed to be in this idea of working in that way, to do rest and everything. With this, we have closed this chapter of the REST application. So we have gone through all of the. We have visited all the alternatives of that. So well, just that. It's a point of view, that one. Okay. So you can see that this is the creation of an application based on the REST architecture. Based on that REST architecture, we actually come up with these kind of events. We are trying to use all these kind of events. Well, that's REST. That's the application. Let's make the last lab, please. I'm going to send you the last lab. Well, in Process Maker Developer, please try to do this lab, saving data and routing cases. 15 minutes for this. 15 minutes, okay? 15 minutes. See ya. Well, hello. I'm going to teach the last thing. Yep. I'm going to my. I'm going to move here to my virtual machine. Just a moment. Okay, to here, and well, I'm going to move to etc. You know that I have used a lot the Chrome, but the point is that it's going to be a nightmare to execute each day the cron. So there is going to be here a file in etc that allows you to program the executions. So I'm going to move here to cron tab, and well, so this file allows me to execute the cron automatically. And look at this, it says these are references for the execution. So it's going to be minute, hour, day of the month, date of the week, user command. What it means. This is, in here I say, each 10 minutes for any hour, any day of the month, any day of the week. Then the user who is going to execute is the root. And finally I add the execution of the cron. Simply as that. That's all. I know it was a very small explanation of what is happening, but okay. So that's the basic thing about it's the months, then you have the hour. So I'm defining some parameters for this execution, and such execution is going to be done. So now, well, it's a reference that I use here. I want you to use this now. From here, let's do the last lap. It is this one. Okay, for the test, you're going to have theoretical questions in developer, and your practical question is the plan. There is a section that says in the practical question, tasks to be evaluated. Please obey that as it is, because it's my reference to put you the marks. Okay, if you avoid and you have to do another thing, it's like, I know that it sounds very imperative to force you to do that, but please try to do it as that way, not as the other way, as that way, exactly that way. Okay, so just that, it's just simply that. Let's do this lab cron execution scheduling. We're going to have around 15 minutes, but we're going to almost finish, so I'm going to close the session. You can do on your own the lab. Thanks for all. Thanks for this session. Thanks for your attendance in this course. Bye.